I'll just wait.
We should be live.
All right, live we are. Hi, everybody. Welcome to DGG Presents. We are going over playing Overgrown, a very interesting, and I'm excited to kind of get into this. Maybe not as excited as George over there, but
I like animals.
We're creating some hybrid animals, but we'll get a little bit more into that afterwards. First, you got Don and Jeff here, joined by George, who's been with us before, and Ben, who is the creator of the game. Quick intro for yourself and where they can find you, Ben.
Hey, yeah, so hi, I'm Ben. I am the creator of Overgrown and other silly light rules light TTRPGs. I'm in a bunch of places, but the main place you can find me is Twitter. My handle is Ben Newbon. There's no R in that name. Everyone likes to try and put an R in it. It's just Ben Newbon, Newbon. And I have itch as well. I can never remember what my itch link is. I'm sure you can find it through my Twitter. So yeah, Overgrown is a game I made. I don't know, maybe 2 years ago now, or started making about 2 years ago. Finished fully released it back in, I think it was May this year, and it went to print in the summer. So this is a lovely print of my book. It is very cool seeing all your
I do like
things on paper.
I like paper.
These are some of my animal creations. I like to do all the character art myself, so these are all Photoshop mashups that I've got. And yeah, I must have done hundreds of these things by now. Just anytime anyone comes up with a weird, wacky suggestion, or if I have playtesters, then I'll try and make character art for everyone that's playing. And I've done a bunch of streams over the past year, and every time it's been super duper fun. So yeah, I mean the crux of the game is that it's about weird animal hybrids. I've kind of set it up to be platform, but not platform, setting agnostic. But I have got a suggested kind of prompt setting in there, and I've got a few example scenarios people can play from. I guess the eventual goal, if I get enough money and spoons, is to make a full campaign book and stuff for it. But at the moment it's a rules light game, so it's not a huge book. It's pretty thin. It's 40 pages, and really you don't actually even need to read the rules. It's so simple to play. We'll go through some of the rules later on and character creation and stuff. Literally someone made, one of my friends, Basilisk Online, he made a character generator that you can just click a button and it will make a character for you, and it's that simple and easy. I'll chuck you guys a link. Actually, it's pretty cool. Actually, I think it's in the book.
Yeah, if you drop us the link somewhere, we can put it in the chat too, so everybody can see that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
All right, so first question that's going to be on a lot of people's minds, and definitely on George's. How much, if any, was Avatar an inspiration and part of this game?
Yeah, stop reading my brain.
This has come up a bunch, and I don't know, because I remember I was watching Avatar maybe for the first time when I was making this, and it must have subconsciously been in there, but it didn't. It wasn't something that I was aware of at the time that I was writing this. And actually, the origin of the game was that I wanted a game where humans were not a factor at all. And the whole idea with the original setting was that it's a post-human, post-apocalyptic kind of thing. And you'd play as animals. And I don't know where from there I got to the point of, actually, you're not just normal animals, you're weird animals, and you're mixes of animals, and they change rapidly and stuff. But yeah, since the Avatar thing came up, it must have been at least in the back of my mind when I was coming up with the ideas. And I've actually made a series of arts for Avatar's creatures. You've got the crow lizards, and there's a fox antelope, I think, a hippo dolphin, loads of different things. Those otter penguins, they're good.
Okay, so what was the why did you start creating this game? What prompted you to want to do this?
It was a game jam, actually. And actually, Basilisk Online, I think, was the host of the game jam. It was the Welcome to the Apocalypse game jam. And so that idea of being a post-human apocalypse where nature had taken over, that was from that. And yeah, I think the rule set is similar to a rule set I did for my first game, which was Cybertopia, a kind of sci-fi, cyberpunky kind of thing. But yeah, the whole simplification of just using a D20 and not really needing like very deep rules, easy character progression, that sort of stuff. It was all part of wanting to be able to play games with people that I knew that were kind of into the concept of role-playing games but had never done it or had tried it and kind of fallen off of it because it was too hard or complex, or they didn't want to have to spend hundreds of dollars on big books and stuff.
Spending lots of dollars on books is definitely a side effect of this hobby. Almost no matter what you play. Yeah, I see you looking away, George.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So you said, if I remember this correctly, you said you printed and released this back in May. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So along the way, like when you said you started about 2 years ago and released it in May, was there any kind of hiccups or things you learned along the way before publishing that, are interesting or might be advice to others trying to do something similar?
I suck at layout. That's the thing I love most doing all this. And like the writing is fine. I can make art good enough. Like I'm not a professional artist, and like the best I could do was these Photoshoppy kind of things. But when it comes to layout, it's literally just stick the words on the page and stick the images in where they kind of fit. But like you look at some of these books and you're like, oh my god, the layout design is incredible. How do people do this? And I'm realizing actually maybe like if and when I've got the money and I'm doing my next project, like hire someone to do the layout design, because that stuff is hard to get looking good.
Yeah, it's definitely a very specialized skill. Like
you don't realize until you start trying to do it yourself. You're like, oh, this is fine, and then you look at it and you're like, no. But it works. Like it looks good enough. One of the things that came up fairly early on in the kind of design process was the accessibility stuff. And so I've got a bunch of friends who I knew when I started out that were kind of hot on the accessibility stuff, and particularly I think they go by Fort Punks now, but they used to be called Fort Police. I know from Twitter. Rev from that group, he helped me a bunch on doing the like alt text and making sure I'm using the right kind of fonts and not cluttering the images and the background and that sort of stuff. And actually I made an accessible version that eventually became the final version, because I figured what's the point in having two different versions? Just have one version that anyone can read.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is definitely something I think a lot of people, well, not I think, I know a lot of people in this realm don't think about, because it's not something that you really realize until you see one that's really good next to one that's okay or one that's really bad. How you lay it out, the font you use, the size, the spacing, all of that makes it a huge difference in how readable your thing is. So sometimes a 180-page book is way more readable than a 50-page book, just based on layout and the different things they thought of. And a lot of people just don't think about that. They just kind of throw it on there. It's like, hey, this looks pretty good. Always get another set of eyes. Like someone like if you can't pay an independent editor or layout person, find somebody that's got maybe a little bit of a background that's a friend, or maybe find somebody that's willing to take a look for you.
And there's some really great resources out there that go over all this stuff. And okay, some of it is a little bit more advanced, but so much of it is very simple and very quick and easy to do. And a lot of the writing products that you use will have a lot of this stuff already in there that you just have to click a button and it'll tell you, oh no, this is not accessible. You need to fix this.
Yeah.
Do you have any of those handy real quick that you could share with us? Because I think that's excellent information. If we can put out in the chat or something, I think that's...
I wrote this in Word, actually.
Okay.
So Microsoft Word, there's some accessibility features in that. I'm not going to open Word because it will probably crash my computer. There's a button you can click which gives you like an accessibility report, and it will tell you which images have or don't have alt text. So I think it might even suggest alt text for some of them. There'll be some stuff about like background that doesn't, or colors that don't work well, and that sort of thing. And I know Adobe and InDesign has something along those lines as well. Affinity, all of these. There is a button somewhere in each of these like big products that have like, is this accessible? So all it takes is that like little bit of extra thought to think, I should actually check for this.
See, I didn't know that there was a button like that in Word until right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Don might have. Don does a lot of our behind-the-scenes stuff. As he likes to say, he's the wizard, I'm the bard. So Don does a lot of the tech work and behind-the-scenes stuff, so he might have known that, but I certainly did not know that that was a thing until right now. So I'm pretty sure if I didn't, there's a whole bunch of other people out there that didn't. So if any of you are listening to this or watching this, whether it be live or recording later, remember that. Search for that. Like, it's not something you're going to think about, so make yourself a note or something if you're creating to do this, because it is one of the biggest deals as far as getting your work out there and getting people to read it and go through it.
Yeah.
The other part of it is, I mean, this kind of probably ties into accessibility, but making sure your book or your zine or whatever you have does not read like a technical manual or a college textbook.
Yep. Absolutely.
You can give instructional information in a way that is not boring and difficult to read and process.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're the kind of person that struggles to put like creative flavor into your mechanical designs, get someone else involved. Like, collaborate. There's so many people out there just aching to collaborate with you. So like, yeah, reach out.
And
for sure.
There really is. If there's a Discord out there, the Creators Cove, that Dragnacarta and Yark the Bard on Twitter kind of like co-run. And there's a whole bunch of people on. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people on there. Don and I are both on there. We're actually in the middle of doing something right now. I'm not going to dive into that because that's not what this is about.
I've been secretly helping people with their technical stuff, like a ninja in the dark over there.
Yeah, but there's people that are there willing to help and willing to like collaborate, share details, and you can get a lot of help and just eyes on things that way. And this community, like all these smaller creators like us and Ben and everyone else, are just they're about the community. They're about getting more good stuff out there, so people aren't gonna like try and steal your stuff or be like you have to pay. Some people want to get paid for their talents, which is fine. Because, if that's their skill set and that's what they're doing, that's perfectly reasonable, and they should get paid for that.
Yeah. But, I mean, it literally is just a collaboration of indie creators that lean on each other to make better ideas and help each other grow. Because in this community, with our indie creator friends, is the only way we can all grow is if we grow together. I mean, straight up.
None of us have millions of dollars to spend on advertising and hiring other people, so...
And as much as there's like this whole thing of like pay and not like working with exposure and that sort of stuff, as long as you're upfront about it, as long as you're in agreement with whoever you're working with, you can work this stuff out. Like I recently started working on a new project with someone I know off of Twitter, and we've both basically said, look, neither of us are in this for the money. If it makes a buttload of money, then we'll take money, but otherwise we're not interested in getting paid. Like, I don't need you to pay me money up front to help you write this. Yeah. And it's really good if you can come to those sorts of agreements. And if one of you needs money, then you can figure something out, or you can do revenue shares and that sort of thing. So just be open and honest with people,
It does include dinosaurs.
Yes, yeah. I just put the link to the character generator on the Twitter. Originally I said only real and existing creatures, but then Basilisk was like, oh no, why don't you open it up? I was like, yeah, why not? Have dinosaurs, have extinct things, have dodos, whatever you want,
Dodo.
I like it. Dinosaurs are definitely something I enjoy. My first thing I wanted to be as a kid, and I was old enough to talk about that sort of thing, was a paleontologist. I wanted to find dinosaurs.
Heck yeah.
I really thought you were going to say the first thing I wanted to be when I was a kid was a dinosaur. Like,
honestly, that's probably more accurate if I could remember back far enough. But I probably can't remember back to that mindset because that's so long ago.
Yeah, so that generator posts. There's a bot that posts a new one on Twitter every day. There's a Twitter account that I'm following where it does that, and I don't know much about dinosaurs, but I am learning a lot of new creatures from that thing.
That's awesome. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think that's the questions I really had. Don, George, you got anything you want to throw at him here?
Not at the top of my head. I'm still waking up.
I do have
Isn't it like midday?
Shush.
No judgment. It's Sunday. It's fine. I'm in Scotland, so it's actually nighttime here right now. So.
One of the reasons we're doing this on Sunday. I do have one more question, though. When you went through the publishing process, what was that like for you? Making the book, finding a publisher, getting the physical copy, and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I self did everything pretty much. Like I published in digital on Itch first, and I went through an Itch funding phase where I was basically, it was in production still. It was the kind of the rule set was all there, but the book was still being kind of fleshed out and finalized and stuff. And I was doing that for maybe 6-8 months, something like that. I managed to raise, I think it was about maybe $1,200 or something through that. And that all basically went straight back into promotion and advertising and stuff for the book. And then I, rather than getting an absolute ton of books printed that I'd send out to people and have to mess around with all the shipping and everything, I went through lulu.com and did the print on demand service through that. And it's a bit more expensive per book, but it means I don't have to worry about actual distribution myself, which I really don't want to get involved in. I've seen so many people who do Kickstarters and end up having to do the dispatch of hundreds and hundreds of books. And I'm just like, no, please no.
Yeah, just boxes and boxes, and they're wherever they can fit them.
Right.
That's fair. I would not want to necessarily have to deal with that on my own either, especially when it would come to shipping anything internationally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. A whole another headache I wouldn't want to deal with. So having a service like that can help take care of it.
And especially being in the UK, like the shipping in and out of here at the moment, especially with Brexit and the EU, and
the nightmare. Yeah.
All right. Well, then, for now, let's go ahead and shift our focus over and let's start creating some animals. Give us a synopsis, give us a direction, and how we should start with this, Ben.
So I think probably the first thing to start with any of this sort of thing is to find out if any of you have any particular animal phobias, because that can be quite a sticking point with this game. Particularly arachnophobia comes up a lot. So if any of you have anything that is like, I hate this kind of creature, please do not have this. Say it now.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
That brings up actually something else that triggered a memory of mine. Part of what's in the book. Okay, George might have one. George, go ahead.
Bats. Okay.
Yeah, no bats. Okay. That's fair. I just think of Ace Ventura 2 whenever I think of someone as a fear of bats of any kind. But yeah, part of what's in the book that Ben created, the Overgrown book itself, the rule set, talks about what Ben just asked us. And that was a very good addition that you put in there, and something that everyone should include somehow in some way in their books, is talking about, thinking about people like safety tools of some sort. Because some people, like Don and I, don't have any issues with any of the creepy crawlies or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, if it's like on my body physically, I probably would, but that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a different game.
Yeah.
But this is something that everyone should include. And like, I saw that, and that's one of the first things I clocked reading through when I got the copy from Ben reading. I was like, yes, because one of the pictures I think on the cover is actually like a flying spider.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
It's hard to put a trigger warning on the cover.
Yeah. But that's not the focus of it, and there's a bunch of other things, and it doesn't look too like menacing. I don't know if that's the word, but
it's a cute spider.
Yeah, but that's definitely something to think about, because like there's one person in one of the games I play in, they have an issue with spiders, and so we're playing a game, there's no spiders.
Yep,
so
that's fair.
Yeah, good thing to do. Everyone should think of that. Props to Ben for putting that in there, like really early on too. Like that was in like the first few pages, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah.
So okay, no bats. I guess in like the physical like aesthetic of a bat, but maybe you'd still be okay with like echolocation as a thing.
I just bad memories of bats.
Yeah.
So no, like looking like that, but bat traits fine.
So there's kind of two parts to the character creation, and if you guys have a character sheet open,
sure do.
I don't have one. Oh no, I don't have one to hand. Yeah, if you've got a character sheet there, you'll see the typical stuff. You've got player name, character name. There's a little slot that I've added for character art. You have a base animal, which is basically you whatever creature you want to start with, as like this is mainly a cat, or this is mainly a walrus, or whatever creature you want to be basing around, and then you kind of build on top of that. So this gives you +3 to any roll that you could justify being relevant. So if you're a cat, then you could add +3 to a roll to climb a tree, or I don't know, chase something through long grass. And then you build on that with other animal features. So you'd have your base cat, and then you could have wings. So let's add hawk wings to a cat. And that extra feature from a different animal could be a +1 or a +2 feature. It doesn't matter. Like you can just pick whether you want it to have a modifier of +1 or a modifier of +2. And whenever you're doing an action with that character that involves using that particular feature, you can add that. And the features can stack. So if you're doing something that can involve using your wings and using your monkey tail, then you can use both modifiers from that. So you could have a +3 modifier total from having +2 wings and +1 monkey tail.
Gotcha.
I can't immediately think of what you could possibly do with a monkey tail and wings at the same time. I'm sure there's something. I had a stream I was running a little while ago where it was a wild concoction of animals, but there was I think it was a flying dolphin that was had a what was it? Some sort of dog creature, hippo dog that was hanging onto its tail, and so it was using its wings and its dolphin tail to carry this hippo dog along as well. And yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the whole crux of the system is basically, if you can justify your feature being relevant, then you can use it, and you get some absolutely ridiculous justifications and some like people who know ridiculous things about animals who play this, and I'm like, is that really a thing? And then I'm looking it up and I'm like, I am learning. This is educational.
There's a Valerie North in the chat that was that dolphin osprey creature they're saying right now.
Yes, yeah, that was Valerie. Yeah, that was a good game. So yeah, there's some ridiculous things you can come up with, and you can use any combination of anything you want. And really, it comes down to what kind of game you guys want to play. Like, if you want to play a game that will involve dinosaurs, then we can do a game with dinosaur features. If you want to have it be marine based, then we can have it be mostly marine life. But whatever you kind of want, whatever route you want to go down, we can then you don't have to stick to that. So if it's underwater creatures, you could have a turtle that is also part fox. It doesn't have to make sense. You can have all sorts of all sorts of features, whatever you want. Like you could have a feature just being the size of a whale. You don't need to look anything like a whale, but it could be absolutely massive. I've had people who had features of pheromones or poison spit, that sort of thing. So if any of you have favorite animals, that's often a good place to start and work from there. Otherwise, if you can think of anything that's particularly cool that seems like a cool combo, let's talk about what you fancy.
Okay. Oh, that just populated everything. What just happened?
Yeah.
Let's do this. There we go. I typed one. Oh, it's populating everything on the sheet. Oh no. I'm trying to type one thing into that character sheet, and it's filling all the lines with those.
Oh really?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
On the animal feature section, I typed something in the first line and it populates everything. So I went down to the second. I erased that, did it in the second line, and it did the same thing again. So I was like, "Ooh, oh no!"
Ah, damn it, Adobe.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel that.
That's okay.
I wonder if it's user error. Hold on, let's find out. Nope, not user error.
I remember that being a problem when I was making it, and I probably just got an old version of the character sheet stuck in there. So
let's see.
Good to know. I'll get that sorted. But I mean, essentially, you can write it down separately if you want.
Yeah, I'll have to. I tried changing just the second line, and that changed everything to what I put in the second line.
Yep. Yeah. Just grab paper. It's all good.
Okay. I don't mind if we go aquatic, but I was hoping for something more land-based. Ben has a little bit of insight already based on something that happened on Twitter of what my base animal is going to be and what I would like it to be. But I'm also flexible if Don or George have a specific direction they really want to go terrain-wise.
Nope.
I'm fine either way. I have a base animal in mind, though.
Yeah.
Neato. I don't. I'm still thinking.
Yeah, we'll give Don some time. So I will go ahead and start here with what I've been thinking of, because this is also slightly influenced by a Pathfinder 2E game I was playing where I was a summoner. And so I got to create an Eidolon, however you say it, I don't remember. And so the base animal is the Siberian tiger, the white fur.
Nice.
But it's got to be able to, not necessarily, I mean, if it can fly. So I'm thinking probably eagle wings maybe.
Ooh.
Or something maybe swan wings, actually, because something that's white and kind of feathery is what I'm thinking. So swan might be a better match. And then it's got a horn coming out of its forehead, much like if we want to go rhino horn, but adjust the positioning of it, because I don't think we're doing mythical creatures.
You can do.
Unicorn horn.
We had in the game with the with the osprey with Valerian, they had a narwhal horn.
Heck yeah!
So that was effectively a unicorn. But yeah, we'll do unicorn too.
Right.
If you want a rhino horn, that's fine. Mechanically, it's going to have the same sort of effect, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is kind of that same mechanic effect, but coming out of the forehead at the top, and then. Something else I'm adding now as a third feature, just because of what you said earlier, is the it's not going to look like it, but the tail is going to be I think prehensile tail is the word I'm thinking of, kind of like a monkey, so you can use the tail to like grab things and do things with.
Cool. So monkey tail.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not visually, but just in the effect of, because you said that, I was like, ooh, that's a really good idea. I actually like that.
Cool. So with the starting setup, right? Your features have to add up to 3 in terms of their points. So you can have a +2 feature and a +1 feature, but then you only get 2 total. Since you've got 3 features, they'll all have to be +1.
Mm-hmm. I'll just put them all on the same line and then use that for now because I wasn't prepared to write anything down.
So a kind of important thing to keep in mind is that you are not completely stuck with the character that you make at the start, and you can change rapidly. And you gain extra features pretty quickly, depending on how you roll in the game, I guess. Your character may end up looking and sounding wildly different to what you start with. All right, George, what you got?
All right, so I know I want to start with an alligator.
That was the other thing I was thinking about. I forgot about that.
Just because they're real fun creatures. And I was like, how can I make this look somewhat ridiculous? Oh, I know. Let's give it Texas Longhorn horns.
Love it.
So it just got those, like, ooh. It's either that or moose antlers, and I like the horns better.
Would sound cool.
And then, hi. I wanted to be a zoologist when I was a child. That's still somewhat a thing I want to be, so I know quite a bit about animals. One of my favorite things is elephants. They can sense vibrations from, like, I forget exactly, but it's just a long distance away. So I was like, that'd be interesting, having an ability to sense vibrations. So I went with elephant vibration sense.
Cool. To give that a bit of a visual flavor, maybe we make it elephant feet, and we say that maybe it's not actually the feet that give the vibration sense, but we can then has a visual factor to it.
Oh yeah.
And we'll just say that they do. Yeah.
And then,
do you want to have a third one as well?
No, I was actually thinking probably just I think I might do +2 with the vibration sensation.
Okay, so +1 on the horns, +2 on the feet. Cool. That's going to look awesome.
And that is, I'm excited. I like animals.
Yeah,
I suppose also another thing to think about is if you want to have a name for your creature, or if you just want to go by your own name. You don't have to come up with that immediately, but
yeah. When we signed up and we were doing this game, and I knew we were doing it, George was the first person I asked to play. I didn't know about the zoology thing, but I know about George and Avatar, and like piecing animals together is just something he liked. So I was like, the first person I reached out to, I was like, "Hey George, we're going to be doing this," and I don't think he even read or saw anything. I just told him it's like kind of like putting animals together and making like a new hybrid. And he was like, "I'm in."
I used to do that all the time in middle school.
So George, have you got a favorite Avatar creature?
I love the eel hounds. Those are so cool. Those are one of my favorites.
No, I didn't do eel hounds.
But also the giant platypus bear, the duck-billed bear.
Oh, you've picked ones I haven't done. Okay, I'll have to do these. Okay, Don, any ideas yet?
Yeah, I think the base animal is going to be a great horned owl.
Ooh.
Sorry, a great horned owl.
Mm-hmm.
Not heard of that.
I think they're the ones that like they look like they have horns, but they're not actually horns, but it's just like where the
it's the tufts.
Yeah,
they're also aren't they one of the bigger owls too?
They're about 3 feet tall, roughly.
Yeah, one of the bigger owls out there.
And then what is it? One of the animal features is chameleon skin.
Ooh. Nice, that's a popular one.
Patterning.
That's something I was thinking about too. I was like,
You're not allowed at that.
Bear-sized.
Bear size.
Oh, That's a big boy.
And has a pistol shrimp water pulse.
Nice. Love that.
Those things break aquarium glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be extra thick glass or else they can break through just normal glass in an aquarium.
Now imagine something doing that, but the size of a bear.
Yeah, that's going to break through probably anything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just a +1 for now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can make it whatever you want, right? But at least at the start, the modifiers aren't going to make a huge difference. So what I hinted at earlier is that your character changes quickly. And so literally anytime you roll a nat 20 on the dice, you will get a new feature, or you can upgrade one of the features that you've just used. So say you roll a nat 20 on shooting something with your water pulse, you could get your water pulse up to +2.
Nice.
Or you could get a new feature that would be relevant to what you've just done as well. So maybe you'd want to have better aim, so you give yourself, I don't know, cat eyes or something. And yeah, so depending on how lucky you are with the nat 20s, you can have a very different creature by the end of the session. I remember, I think it was the first ever playtest that I did of the game. Someone was like a goose jellyfish with human arms. They wanted to have be able to hold things. It was wild. It was so good, and they upgraded their jellyfish tentacles or tendrils, or whatever they're called, so many times. By the end of the session, I think there were more jellyfish than there were goose. And yeah, that was
murder cobras.
Yeah, it was grim. But on the flip side of that, nat 1s give you what I've named in the game as trauma. It's a bit of a loaded term, I guess, so I couldn't really think of something better to use. But basically, that is a penalty. It's always in relation to what you've rolled. I don't know, say you fall out of a tree, rolling a nat 1, maybe you're going to get vertigo, and that is a -1. And that'll stay with your character until you manage to shake it off, which you do by rolling successes when using that penalty. So if you roll 3 successes against your trauma, then you get rid of the trauma. Or if you roll a nat 20 against that trauma, it automatically turns from a trauma into a bonus. So your vertigo could turn into... no, vertigo is a terrible example. What's the opposite of vertigo? Love heights. I don't know. Maybe you suddenly become really tall, so you're not bothered. Giraffe legs. So yeah. So your character can change a lot, even in the space of one session. And like, I've had sessions where they've been like up to, I think the most I've had in one session was like 7 nat 20s. From, I think that was a group of 2, got 7 nat 20s between them. And sometimes you get loads of nat 1s, and sometimes you get none of either, and it's a much less exciting session. But that's the dice for you. I was telling you guys earlier the play-by post I've been running for the last 2 years, which kind of started out as a play test and turned into a kind of exploration to see about developing a campaign and stuff. And one of my players on it has I think he's only had a few nat 20s in the whole thing. I think he's had like 2 or 3 in the whole thing. To the point where I had to say, okay, the other player is kind of pulling ahead of you. Let's just give you a few free evolutions just so you don't get left behind. And that's something I mentioned in the book. Like, the luck of the dice is a big thing to be hinging the progression of your characters on. So if someone seems to be falling behind, talk to the group, see what everyone feels like, but maybe throw them some freebies, you know?
Yeah,
you don't want someone to feel like they're like not developing and it's not their fault because it's the dice.
I don't know. Should I pull out entropy for this game, Don?
Yeah, go for it.
I haven't physically touched that since you gave it to me. It's got a little tiny one-size dice bag that it's been sitting in.
Yeah.
I mean, it will either be your friend or not. So it's one of those weird dice that either rolls really high or really low. Not much in the middle.
Yeah, there's those ones, eh? So something else I thought would be fun for this this particular stream might be to create some NPCs that you could potentially experience when we play together. And these could be really simple. Like, they don't need to be anywhere near as complex as these ones. Like, you can just have 2 creatures you want to mash together. So I did this with a stream a while back where someone was like, let's have a anteater swordfish. And there was a fox slug. And so you can literally just say any 2 animals, and I'll try and make them into a creature that you could encounter. It could be a friendly, it could be a hostile, it could be just a thing on the side. So if we come up with one of those each, we'll stick them into the game when we play.
Sounds good. I do have to make a comment because I did say something about this before we started, and I just want to bring this up. So the character sheet is amazing. I don't know, but it's got, so the way we have it, it's one page is just all about your character, and then the second page is just the rules. And that is so brilliant. I love that. It's so much better than going through a 1,000-page book just trying to find one rule. I love it.
Yeah. And I think there is a little bit more to the rules than what's on that sheet, but like, you could easily just play the game by having that sheet there. So
yeah, it's just a general breakdown, which is amazing.
Yeah, I guess the idea behind that was so that if and when I ever manage to get to a con, I can just print out some character sheets with the reference page and just be like, this is the game. This is all you need. You don't need to read the book, because you don't want people at a con to be sitting down to a game for the first time and have to spend half an hour reading the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah, these little like quick reference, quick look sheets are just something else that everybody should invest in or try and get going, because it's accessibility again, making information easy to find, easy to access, so you're not having to flip through a whole bunch of pages. Just have the basics right there in front of you, ready to go.
And actually, it's a good thing, George, that you bring this up, because looking at this, I realized I've explained the characters and the modifiers and stuff, but I've not actually explained the core mechanics of the game, which is kind of important.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's a little important.
Anytime you want to do something that is more like something that could involve an element of danger or success or failure, so not like walking across the street, but like if you want to run across the street dodging cars or something, then you'd have to roll for it. And every roll in this game is 1 dice. All you need is a D20, and then you roll that and add whatever modifiers are relevant. So if your base creature can be included in some fashion, then you can add +3. And if any of your features are relevant in somehow, then you can add them in as well. So let's say, Jeff, with your tiger, you are stalking some prey through some woodlands. You could have, I don't know, tiger stalking this. And then if you want to go for the actual attack, you could use your tiger speed and ferocity, and then also add in your rhino horn. So you'd have a +4 total.
Gotcha.
And then when you roll a nat 1, and you fail anyway miserably, and then you get a trauma.
That'll be me. I'll be the first.
That will be done.
I'll be the first owl bear chameleon pistol shrimp with my twitch. Won't be right.
So, yeah. If anyone has any wacky ideas for a nonsense NPC we could have, go for it, George.
A porcupine. It's born a porcupine. A porcupine.
A porcupine?
Oh, I love it. Oh, porcupine. I love porcupines. Anything with spikes is a fun thing in this game.
A duck-billed armadillopus.
Duck.
All right, I got to throw mine out now. How about the triceratode?
Oh,
Oh,
that's fantastic.
that's something straight out of Ben 10.
Right. Fuck, you spelled triceratops.
That was one of my favorite dinosaurs growing up all the time, so I had to work it in here somehow.
Mine was always the Ankylosaurus, because
That's
a
also
giant
good
lizard with a mace and armor is great.
I love them. They're so good.
I like my
Like-
staggies.
That was it the fourth Jurassic Park film, the first Jurassic World, where the Ankylosaurus fights the big bad dinosaur? That was so cool. I was like, yes.
Yep.
The rest of the film may be trash, but this is good.
Yep. I was like, it's there. They did it.
They put it in.
Nice.
Cool.
Cool.
So something else I would like to point out too, well, two things actually, is there's an assist or preparation kind of mechanic you put in here too.
Yeah.
Like help others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I figured like there's always going to be, in any of these sorts of games, if you've got multiple players, there's going to be some sort of teamwork come into it eventually. So rather than having a thing where you're like combining your scores or combining your roles or anything, like basically if you are trying to assist someone or if you're trying to do a preparatory action, you can add add modifiers to your future roll or to your friend's roll by rolling whatever you're doing. And so when you're doing an assist, you'd roll for whatever you're doing. So maybe your assist is giving them a boost so they can jump over a wall. So you'd maybe add in your modifier for doing lifting someone up or being particularly large so they can climb up at you or something. So you add +3 giraffe, and then when you roll, the outcome of that roll will add a modifier to their roll. So if you roll, so if you roll 11 to 15, then you can add +1 to your friend's roll. If it's 16 to 19, +2, and if it's 20 or more, +3. And that will get added to their roll when they do it. Or if it's preparation, it'll get added to your roll when you do the action that you are preparing for. So maybe it's you're coiling up, so you can do an extra long jump. So you'd roll for cobra coiling, and then when you actually do the jump, you add that onto your roll for rabbit legs.
Okay, I gotcha.
So yeah, there is though it is a very simple system, there are some nuances and things to it that kind of I don't tend to go through too much before play, so some of this stuff never comes up, and so when it does come up, I can just be like, okay, so this is how that works, and usually it is just a simple enough thing where people are just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
The other thing I was going to bring out, and this is a GM perspective thing that you put in your rulebook specifically, and Don's going to start nodding if he hasn't seen this already yet, is you put in there that, rolls are not necessary for simple tasks. Like you mentioned, like if you're walking across the street, not a roll, something you can just do. But you also put that sometimes if something is a task that can be done, but, a 1 won't necessarily indicate a failure, but a failure with a cost.
Yeah.
And
I love games where it's like, where there's a fail forward kind of thing to it. Like if everyone is struggling to get past the ravine that you need to cross to get to the next section, like they can fail but accidentally knock over a tree, and then the tree can help you get across. You can still struggle and you can still get traumas or take damage or whatever, like during the process, but try to make ways that the game isn't going to come to a complete standstill.
And like putting that into the rules, because you have an entire section too for like the game runner, like in the rules too, to help them out towards like the bottom half of it. And just having all that in is also like a good thing to do for any rule book straightforward, because it's not something that's commonly done or commonly understood still. Some people have a lot of those games I've heard about, read the horror stories, whether it's on Reddit or Twitter or anywhere else, where a game grinds to a halt. Don has a few examples. We actually talked about this, I think, in one of our podcasts that's out, where a game can grind to a halt or turn into just a slog where nobody's having any fun because there's an obstacle in your way. The dice are just failing you, and nothing's happening, and no progression's happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for like putting that in there as something that everybody can read and see and think about, Ben.
Yeah, I think that's another one of the things that came kind of later on that was something that was, I forget who suggested. I think someone suggested that at some point. I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense, because especially with this sort of game, if you don't have a lot of scenarios, if you don't have like adventures that are planned out, that are written out fully, that GMs can kind of lead players through, it can be so open that it's difficult for a game runner to know where to take it and to know how to shape things.
Yeah.
And so just having that little bit of guidance, like I've got a whole checklist in there about scenario building, just so that people can see, like, quickly and easily come up with some ideas of like, okay, we need an objective and we need some obstacles, and what questions do I need to be thinking of when doing this sort of stuff? And not everyone is good at coming up with that sort of stuff. And because I've not gone to the extent of writing out a full campaign that people can play, this is hopefully enough that people can pick this up and make up their own stuff pretty quickly and pretty easily.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better, honestly.
Cool. And so maybe this is a good segue, actually, of kind of moving into where we're going to take the actual play session when we play. And actually, we still need to schedule in when we're going to do that. But offline. What kind of things are you interested in? Like I said, it's completely setting agnostic. So it could be a fantasy setting, it could be a sci-fi setting, it could be space. Is there any particular location or something that you'd be interested in? Don's got an idea.
I had an idea, but I don't know how folks feel about this. So what do you think about like a small colony or world ship, and so it's got like a old, like, overgrown natural environment in the middle of an actual world ship?
I have no problems with that.
That sounds like fun.
I kind of have an idea that I've been ruminating in the background as well, and I think that works very well with what I'm thinking. So I'm going to keep that my part under my hat, and hopefully give you a little bit of surprise when we actually play. But yeah, I like that. So we're talking like a kind of a futuristic ship kind of thing with bio stuff.
Yeah, where it's got like its own, internal environment that very much simulates the natural world to an extent, but everything's kind of, it's long like since been overtaken by all of the growth and natural stuff.
This is cool. This makes me think of that film. Who was it? Jennifer Lawrence and one of the Chris's. Was it Christopher?
Oh,
Passengers or something.
I think it was Pratt.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
And at the end of it,
that
whole
one.
ship's been like taken over by plants and stuff, and like everyone else is asleep, and when they wake up, the ship is all like full of trees and shit.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I've definitely got some ideas to bounce off of that one. So I guess that leads to another thing of the default setting that I give is no humans involved. Would you like humans involved? Do you want humans in your session? Or no humans?
I almost like the idea that they're mythological at this point.
And actually, yeah, no, that really works with this, right? Because if it's this old, overgrown ship, it could be that the humans used to pilot this ship, and they have since died off for some reason. Maybe all their cryopods failed, and the nature took over. Yeah,
exactly.
Cool.
It's almost like mythological at this point. Like they're known of, but we've never actually seen one.
But it can still be like the technology and stuff that the humans created back in the olden days. But the humans themselves are maybe just skeletons and fossils. I like it.
Cool. They're the fossils.
Yeah, man. Oh, the turntables.
Oh, the turntables.
I love that.
Okay. Cool. All right. So one other thing that I was thinking of that could be cool, and I've never done this with this system before, but what we've got at the moment is we've got the characters that you guys want to play. I thought it could be cool if when you fail, you develop bad features. So maybe you get an octopus tentacle that is kind of working against you. Or something.
I really like that. It's kind of like almost an unstable evolution or something.
Yeah, right. So yeah, maybe instead of getting traumas, you'll actually get bad evolutions, bad evolutions.
Mutations. There you
Mutations.
Go. Yeah, mutations. That's the word for it.
Yeah, evolutions that don't go anywhere, or shouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I think that could be cool. We'll probably come up with some of these on the fly, but maybe if only you have thoughts of things that you would consider to be like particularly creepy or horrible things to happen. I default to tentacles because they're so like the Cthulhu-esqueness of them is just like, yeah, they're horrible.
Oh yeah, I saw that tweet. Yeah, those are some interesting creatures.
Oh man, I've made some such horrific animals. Have you seen the bunny snake?
No,
I have not seen the bunny snake.
No, I have not seen the bunny snake.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the bunny snake's good.
That sounds impressive.
So yeah, so we'll do that. And if you think of any particularly horrific mutations, either now or during the session or whatever, we can insert them into the game. Like I said, none of you may roll a nat 1, so this could be completely irrelevant and a waste of time. But we'll see.
Well, I don't know about a specific one, but one that you could add is like a separate emergent sentience in the same body. So like part of your body starts being controlled adversely to yourself.
I like it.
I was just gonna go with the classic bad eyesight because a lot of big herbivores kind of their eyesight. Some of them rhinos have really shit eyesight. They have really bad eyesight.
Cool. Yeah. Bad eyes. Yeah, I like it.
Which is funny because the owl has really good eyesight. Alligators have really good eyesight. I forgot what Jeff's playing. Oh, a tiger also has really good eyesight.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, you could get traumas and temporary penalties that are working directly against some of your bonuses, and so they cancel each other out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of the things. Like, the more you roll on specific things, the more likely you are to either get an evolution or a mutation. So, it can go either way. And the more you roll, the more you run that risk, but the more fun you're going to have.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just realized Don made a very silent killer.
Oh yeah,
because owls fly silently, and the ability to change, and then whack.
But he's the size of a bear, so he's like a very large rogue.
Well, stealth always works if there's no witnesses, right?
That's what the water pistols.
I love it. That's so cool. Awesome. Okay. I suppose another consideration would be, so we've got a kind of a setting. Do any of you have thoughts on a kind of scenario that you'd want to do? Do you want to have a combat-based scenario or a heist-based kind of thing, or rescue sort of thing? Like any preferences on the sort of thing you'd want to be doing when you actually play?
That's a good question. I'm going to throw it to those two since.
Oh, thanks, Don.
I had a thought brewing once Don set the situation, and Ben was talking about that Passengers movie that I like an idea we had. Maybe it's a rescue type mission, in the fact that power or something is failing, and the where we live is starting to maybe kind of die off a little bit. Like the vegetation, the plants, and everything are starting to not get whatever they need. They've been getting from either the ship or where it's been coming from.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, so I mean, this is actually, I will take it in a different direction, but this is tending a little bit towards one of the example scenarios I've got in the book, where it's you start in this kind of natural world that you've always lived in, and then it starts falling apart and starts going out of control, and all the plants start trying to kill you. So you just have to run, and you keep on running and running and running until you hit a wall, and it turns out that your whole world was just a simulation, and you break through that wall, and you go through into the labs where it turns out that humans have been experimenting on you using the simulation. And it's kind of that sort of thing, and then you break out through the labs and you get out into the real world, and you see the real world is going to shit because everything that's happening in your simulation is now also happening outside.
Oh.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, I did not see that in the book, and I looked through, but that's a great concept.
I've only played it once, I think, but it's really good fun. And I guess I've completely ruined the surprise for anyone that was maybe going to be playing it. But,
Spoiler alert! Oh wait!
Don't listen to this stream, people.
Listen, go back about 5 minutes. Don't listen to that window. Just go up until about the 1 hour mark, and then come in at 1:03.
Well, you never know, though. That whole storyline might inspire people to add different twists and turns and create something completely different.
The point of that was it was supposed to be like the prequel to the post-human, post-apocalyptic setting of that would be where it all started. The whole animal mass evolution thing started in this lab, and the lab went out of control, and the thing that destroyed the whole human race started in that lab.
Yeah. Resident Evil.
Yes, of course.
Well, you could piggyback on to Jeff's idea and say something like it's almost like a heist style theme where we're trying to figure out what to do, and maybe somebody, I don't know. I don't want to take it over too much.
I mean, I'm going to stick random stuff into this anyway, so you don't exactly know what to expect. But yeah, no, I like that. That's a cool idea of it can be kind of heist-esque. You've got to maybe get something from somewhere to somewhere else and do something once you get there. Yeah.
I like that idea.
Do the
and
thing.
Maybe you can make good use of that stealthiness.
We'll see. It looks good on paper.
But then you've got an alligator and a tiger just chasing around after you.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you doing?
We have these things called chaos.
I just remember George has
elephants. I rolled, just rolling dice. Why am I rolling good now?
Yeah, I only roll really good.
Them, right?
I only roll really good when I'm running.
Yeah, we know. So there is me who rolled 4 natural 20 wisdom saves against a player once, but
Nice.
Yeah, Jeff really hates it when I roll saves against his characters. He's like, I might as well just not even make characters that use save stuff.
Cool. So I mean, I think we're all set up now. We've got a setting. We've got the bare bones of a scenario to play through, and we got your characters and some NPCs. Is there anything else you guys want to talk through or talk about whilst we're here?
Has anybody else come up with a name for their character yet?
Names are the hardest part for me.
Not for me.
Time.
The moment I wrote down Great Horned Owl, I'm like, yep, this character's name's Whisper. That's easy enough.
Oh, that's nice. Pronouns.
Ooh, good point.
And I've got a section in the sheets for the pronouns, which I'm starting to see is becoming more common, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because especially a name like Whisper could be anything.
Yeah, I'll just go with they, them on it. Why not?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was thinking of a name after Dawn said theirs, but that might just be way too confusing.
You could theme it.
Silent but deadly.
No, I was thinking of going with Whisker.
Oh, no, that's too difficult. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get confused with those names.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
You could do something like a
couldn't do
house
that.
cat name, Jeff, like
what I think.
Sprinkles or
Oh my
That's what
God.
I was thinking of.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna go with
Snowball.
So what's that?
Snowball.
Louis.
what's that, George?
Snowball.
Sorry?
Louis.
Would it
Louis.
be? Oh,
Is that IE or IS?
Louie.
Okay, cool. And pronouns?
I'll go they them on that.
Ooh. And Jeff, did you say you're also going they them?
yeah.
That makes it nice and easy.
This way, I can also put up on like the little rotating nameplates the character names and stuff.
Mhm.
Eventually.
Now that is a good thing to do there.
George is finding the voice.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't do this for every character I come up with. It's not why I chose a gator just to do an accent like this.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, pretty much all my character voices end up defaulting to Cockney because I'm originally a Londoner and I can't help it. Like, I'm playing in a D&D stream recently, and I was supposed to be kind of an old Italian sort of voice, and it always just ends up coming back to gruff Cockney.
Ooh, I like Siegfried. That's great.
You know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I got it. You know, and one thing you can do is it could be like, you know, this is part of the human mythology.
Is that your character name, Siegfried?
Yeah, we'll go with it. We'll do it.
Cool. Nice. I've noted all this down in case you guys lose what you've written down. So I'll keep this for whenever we end up actually playing.
I'm really excited to do the second part when we do it too, because I want to see the images that you come up with.
Oh, yes.
There's so many of them in the book, and then so many other ones that just like you post randomly with different things from like NPCs or other games you've run, and
Yeah.
like some of them I'm like, wow, somebody thought of that.
And I've got on my itch. I've got you can download all of the images I've made. It might be a little bit out of date now, but yeah, there's my George. What are you doing?
Huh? I find random things and I play with it.
Oh, okay. Like, what is George about to start doing on stream?
Don't do that. No.
He's about ready to start grilling just in front of all of us on stream.
Yeah.
He's getting in the southern mindset. That's it.
Yeah. Make sure you throw some hush puppies in.
Ooh, those sound good.
So yeah, on my itch, I've got I think it's called the Overgrown Hybrids concept art or something like that. And so you can download all of and I think I've even got the Photoshop files in there as well. All of the images are taken from royalty-free image sites like Pixabay or Pexels and Unsplash. Love those places, really great. So everything can be free to use and reproduce. And yeah, if you ever want to include some weird-looking creatures in your games, I've got a ton.
Sweet.
I can see here in about a month or two in George's game, I'm probably going to start seeing a lot of these now.
What? What?
Also, Ben, are you okay with me making a couple of slides that show the condensed rules for the actual play? Because I'd like to put those up so that people who are following along can reference them. It usually helps to have a few visuals. I want to make sure that I asked you.
That's cool. Yeah, and as soon as I've made the character arts for you, I'll send them over, and you can put them on promo materials or anything you want. Cool.
Using the show for sure. This is what they expect. Put them somewhere on the stream here too. People see. I'm intrigued.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll do a little reorg on overlay. Because I was trying to like get that green plant almost to gold kind of transition and all that fun stuff. And, you know.
Yeah, I can probably send you some more materials and stuff if you want anything. I don't know what I've still got on my computer. Random crap. So
I
can send
feel
you
that.
Yeah, anything you want to pop in that Discord will be better for Don to see quicker than on the Twitter too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good idea. Yeah. Yeah. I closed Discord while we're doing this because I know I'm just going to get distracted by the little red dot that appears. And it's like, no.
Yep.
You can put it in streamer mode, but you still see the little red dot.
Yep. And you're like, I know that there's things spamming me.
And this is why I can't handle Discord. Like, loads of people talking about what they're going to go from after Twitter implodes inevitably, and I'm like, I can't. I've got so many so many Discord servers that I just have completely muted because I can't handle that amount of information.
Oh, Schrodinger. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful name for your character, Jeff. But I like Siegfried.
I like Siegfried too.
It's a silent
Schrodinger can be its surname. Siegfried Schrodinger.
Beautiful.
All right, I'll go with it. I'm okay with it.
I'm loving this party.
Not me.
Now you can put on like a mad scientist voice when you play.
Yes, Jeff, join the voice and do the German.
I'll have to work into it. Practice a little bit.
Easy. You just add the V's and the random sounds, and all of a sudden you sound German.
I don't know if we got much else. Do you have like an opening or anything, or a way to set the mood that you might want to go over before we?
Okay, so we've picked a setting. Something I quite like to do with my character, my players when I run this, is to have them, each player, kind of define a bit of your home. Like, what part of the ship do you live in? What is your nest like, or whatever you live in? What do you do on this ship? Do you have a job or a role, or like what is your thing in the ship? Because that can really help to inform like the start of the session. Like where do you begin?
I know there's a little waterfall into a pool somewhere, and that's where Siegfried Schrodinger likes to hang out, to go swimming and just kind of lounge where the light comes down and warms a nice area, but there's a little bit of protection in case there's like any sort of rain or stuff falling from somewhere.
You're chilling in the spa.
Yep.
And he may or they may or may not be there.
Exactly.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
You guys are like in a different room, and you're like, "Where is Siegfried? He may be working. He may be chilling." Sorry, they may be.
Yeah. I don't know about a job though. I'll have to think about that a little bit more. But that's like their resting spot, their favorite hangout spot for sure.
I like it.
I think Whisper's probably up where there's several like open exposed rafters and coils of wire that are all kind of bunched up, and they spend a lot of time just kind of hanging out there unless there's a job other people don't like to do or other creatures don't like to do, which they usually hire Whisper for because they don't really have any compunctions. They're kind of like the person you hire when or ask to do things when you don't want to get your hands dirty.
Cool.
The dependable thug.
Dependable thug. Louis would definitely be somewhere that's a little off the beaten path, just a little quiet, because he likes to tend to stay by himself. Most of the time, just finding a place that has some warm light or just something to keep himself warm, because gators need that. All reptiles need that. And he likes gardening.
Right?
Aw.
So you could be in the agricultural sector or something.
Exactly.
Like
I
you're in the
got it.
greenhouse. Yeah, you're in the greenhouse.
Siegfried is part of some entertainment for the rest of the people.
Oh yeah.
What
Well,
they
what
do is
like what?
they have a prey animal that they're always hunting and chasing after, and that is part of the show for everyone else is to watch and see. Will he or
Wait a
won't he
minute.
catch them today?
Is this Tom and Jerry?
Immediately followed by a disappearing act.
Yep. And it's just entertainment for the rest of the rest of the people. When they're having a bad day or they need something to do and watch, they just come and watch this.
I feel like it might be unintentional entertainment though. You're chasing after this prey animal, and everyone else thinks it's hilarious, but you're like, no, I want that thing.
I'm just too big, and sometimes it gets away.
It's like running between your legs, and an anvil drops on your head.
Where'd the anvil come from? Looked up, there's just whisper in the rafters.
I had money on that one, mate.
Siegfried is an entertainer. If he's there. If they're there.
Okay, so how about we start with this then? So you're all in your respective places, and suddenly just one evening you just feel the whole ship just kind of lurch, and it starts kind of shaking, and it feels like super unstable. Something is clearly wrong. Let's say your locations are fairly close to each other. You all know each other through your community and dealings together and stuff. Let's say you're friendly because that makes things easier. Where are you going to meet up?
Well, there's only one of us that he may or may not be in the same location every time. So I think that would be the best place to meet up, would be where one of us may or may not be.
So you'll go to Schrodinger's box.
Exactly.
Okay. I think we will start with you, Don. You are Whisper is hanging in the rafters, and there's where the ship has lurched. All the cables and the wiring and stuff has just started dropping down all around you, and you need to get out of there fast. So let's have you roll to kind of escape without getting all tangled up.
All right.
First roll.
Oh, this is gonna go.
And you can tell me what modifiers you want to include. You don't get negative modifiers, so like your bear size is not going to affect this in a bad way.
Okay. I think that Whisper is just going to try to like dive out and spin around and try to keep from getting tangled up and hung up as all these cables are coming crashing down and trying to get into the open air. So I think that's just great horned owl, really.
Cool. Use your nimbleness.
Yeah. Trying. And that's a 1.
No way. We started with a nat 1.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Right.
No warm up rolls were had. Don just went for it.
Okay. Right. Well,
No.
This okay,
this is fantastic.
We're going to go straight in with the tentacles then. You get yourself -1 tentacles.
All right.
And yeah, so you try to like escape from this tangled web of cables and wiring and stuff, and out from nowhere, this has never happened before. You've never heard of this happening before. You just have a bunch of tentacles just erupt from your back, and they're getting tangled in your wings. They're grabbing onto the wires. You don't have control over these things, and they are pulling you back into the cable. and you are well and truly stuck.
You see the comedy where you see the owl's eyes get massive. And do like that 3/4 turn around and the eyes are just like, ah!
Yeah. I've got an image of that, like you're flying and you're gonna make it, and you're like, this is so easy. I'm out of here, and it's like just yank.
Yep.
And then because you're an owl, your head rotates almost 360.
Yeah, exactly. With these huge, like, dilated eyes where you can still see the whites almost. So surprised.
That's good. So you're stuck. Let's say this also makes a huge amount of noise, and other people on the ship can tell, like, there's cables getting pulled in from their rooms into your room where you've just been yanking on all these wires and stuff. Jeff, I think where you're chilling in the spa, you probably wouldn't notice this, but maybe George Louis would see this from the greenhouse when when they're moving between there and going towards where Siegfried would be. So you kind of notice that the cabling seems to be getting pulled into the rafters where Whisper would be.
That ain't right.
And actually, let's have you roll because you've got your elephant sensation thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Let's have you roll and see how much you detect. No.
That's a natural 20.
Oh, okay. Wow. It's never happened on both of the first two rolls. I mean, Jeff, you've got some living up to do here, right?
I may or may not be in the middle somewhere.
Jeff's going to roll a 1 and a 20. Wow, okay. So do you want to increase your elephant feet sensation thing to +3 or develop something extra?
Let's go with the +3 and the vibration because I don't have any idea for anything else right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that fits. Okay, so I mean, you first you feel the ship lurch to the side, and then a few seconds later, you can feel something go horrendously wrong. Where you're feeling in the ground, in the vibrations around you, you can sense all of those wires, all those cables getting yanked, and you can really precisely locate. Oh, I know exactly where this is happening. This is exactly where Whisper is. So you know where they are. You may not be able to get to them, but you know precisely where they are.
Well, I'm gonna go find Sig and figure out. Yeah, I am built to get up there. He can at least climb somewhat. I think.
Yeah, Siegfried at least has wings, so they're
yeah,
equipped.
that's right. They can fly. I can't fly.
They may be able to fly you up there. So
I will go, and I may or may not find.
Okay, so Siegfried has been chilling in the spa, in the waterfall room, and what would their reaction be to this? The lurching of the ship.
They would. Siegfried takes a second and goes, trying to figure out, did that happen? Oh, okay, yeah, something happened. Okay. Kind of climb out from behind the waterfall, like walk out a little bit, and just take a look around to see if they can see.
The waterfall is not usually at this angle.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Something has changed.
It's a little early. I haven't gotten into the stash yet.
The catnip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a natural little like stash that grows up on the side of the waterfall.
So are they going to go for the stash now? They're like, maybe they're a little bit on edge, and they're like, I need to chill out.
Yeah, a little bit like, okay, gotta calm down.
Okay. So let's say you're kind of digging into that stash as Louis comes in and finds you.
He may or may not be high.
No, man, I'm fine.
Like, hey, Louis, what's going on?
Well, we seem to have a bit of turmoil somewhere, and Whisper definitely got caught in something and are pulling all the cables through every single one's quarters. And I think, as I am not equipped to get up to where Whisper is, and you got them beautiful wings on you, why don't you go up there and see if you can assist them and get out of them cords?
I think we can make that. Yes, and we can do this. And Siegfried unveils their wings in a very grandiose fashion, almost as if like they're playing to a crowd.
Dang, it's just me. You don't need a.
And then the prehensile tail will wrap around Louis.
That's right. We're going up. Okay.
And up we go.
I was
I love it. Okay, let's do this. Jeff, let's have you roll for wings and tail then.
Wings and tail. Okay, is that just like one roll and add the wings and tail in?
Yeah. +2 to the roll.
Here comes the one.
There it is. It is a 9 + 2 for 11. So right in the middle, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah. It's perfect.
Look, we showed the entire spectrum.
So I mean, this is an uncontested role, right? So it's something that you're definitely going to be able to do, but it's going to take a bit longer and maybe be a bit clumsier than you had hoped for. I mean, after all, you are pulling along a big old alligator with massive elephant feet. So you clatter around a bit. You eventually manage to make it up to the rafters, and it's a mess up there. You can see Whisper is all tangled up, and there's some like weird flappy things going on behind them that you've never seen before, that seem to be grabbing onto stuff and just flowing around. Don, do you call out to them? What do you do? And do you even notice them?
Yeah, be like, hey friends, been a bit of a predicament here. I'm not quite sure what's going on right now, but
just let go.
I'm
Did you eat
trying.
too much of that calamari last night?
I'm not sure. Is that what his name was?
So, where Whisper's kind of entangled, there's like rafters and things. So I think I'm gonna try and put Louis up on one of the rafters. Just
watch the horns. Watch the horns. I have issues getting through the doors normally, so
this is a great image of this big old beast just kind of gingerly like tottering around on these rafters up the top.
I also love how we all chose fairly large animals.
Detail work is not our forte.
no.
Okay, so Louis, you're up on the rafters as well. It doesn't have to make sense. I repeat this several times in the book. It does not have to make sense.
Now, do we want to try to? That sounds like a real stupid idea of cutting them cables, because there may or may not be power running through them, and
they're really stuck.
I don't real keep in mind of getting electrocuted, because that don't taste good. No one likes the taste of electricity. Do you have anything, Sig?
So Whisper is like tangled up in the cords and the wires as well as being attached.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
I don't have what you call them opposable thumbs.
Yeah, Siegfried's gonna fly up a little closer, gonna look at Whisper and goes, "All right, you focus on letting go, and I'll see if I can untangle some of these cords and wires. I'll use the horn to kind of like thread through and like of untangle some of the wiring that's wrapped around Whisper.
Maybe you could use your tail to also grab onto some of it, and you're like trying to pry it apart with your.
I would like to try to assist. I would like to try to assist by like using like the horns on my head to just like gently pull back on the cables that are closer to me to give a like almost like a little bit of tension so Sig can figure out where they're exactly which ones need to become loose first.
Okay. I think what we're going to do is
It's a mess.
Don is going to do the main role here of trying to get out, and you two, Jeff and George, you're both going to assist on this, so you can both potentially add a modifier to Don's role.
Cool. So this is assist is just
That landed on the floor and was cocked, so I'm not going to take it, but that would have been a 20.
Yeah, so if you just roll as you would normally for whatever it is you're trying to do, and then the result would inform how much the modifier is that you give.
So roll d20 and then add any modifiers that work that we're using. Okay.
Yeah, so for you it sounds like your horns, right?
Yeah, so just okay.
Since I'm using my horn and my tail, it's a +2, and I rolled a 13, which gives me a 15, so I would get a +1 for Dawn.
Yep.
For Whisper.
I rolled a 10 + 1, so it's 11, so I get a +1 as well.
Okay, so Don, you're going to have a +2 to your roll to release yourself. You'll get a -1 from the tentacles, so it's a +1 total from those guys, and then whatever else you can justify using from your skill set.
Probably just the base Great Horned Owl trying to be dexterous and move out. I don't think anything else on my list is going to help with this, right?
I mean, depending on how you want to work it, you could use the
air sides and just.
No. Well, no, I was thinking the water spray to help put you away.
Yeah, I don't want to damage stuff. I could hurt one of you.
You're mad or inconsiderate that neither of us, as I am the only one who's grounded in this experience.
If you just use the owl, then you'll get a +4 total to the roll. So.
Yep, I got a 9
with a +4.
Yep.
Oh no!
Okay, I mean,
I told you.
They're still struggling up there.
Those tentacles.
You're now all pulling at these cables and wires, and it feels like Siegfried and Louis are making some progress in untangling them, but it seems like where Whisper is trying to release themselves, they're actually just kind of maybe they're just like twisting around, and they're doing that thing where like if you're in quicksand where you should just stay still. They're very much not doing that. And actually, they're pulling more of the cables through. And at this point, there's so much cabling coming down that they're now dangling down in the middle of the room, and just kind of swinging around like a disco ball or something. And at this point, the lights go out.
Well, if that gives any case, the power's out. I'm biting the cords off. I'm just cutting the cord.
Okay, let's do this.
Are Whisper's eyes still really like wide and like panicky? Mm-hmm. I'll be right back. And while Louis is trying to bite through, Siegfried's gonna fly down and grab some of the stash to bring up to Whisper to calm them down.
I like that. I like that.
This is gonna hurt a lot.
All right, let's do Jeff's roll first. Go to get your stash to provide. And I think what we'll do for this will be if you are successful in this, we'll give Whisper a positive status effect, which is kind of like having the assist, but it will be ongoing until they lose that effect.
Till they become sober
again. It's a roll just with my wings and to fly down and grab it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could justify tiger claws for grabbing this.
Okay. I'll take that. Flying down and grabbing it. So that would be a +4 total, which gives me a 13.
Nice. Okay.
Roll so 9 again.
you take some catnip type stuff up to Whisper. I'm sure you're not supposed to give owls catnip, but sure.
What?
So yeah, Whisper, you're going to have a +1 to any roles that require you to have some sort of calm, like focus or something. I guess.
You see, like one of Whisper's eyes is normal now, the other one's still kind of dilated and wild. Just kind of like they're just.
All right, now Whisper, be ready to catch yourself.
What?
So I might just quickly explain the status effects things, the
sure.
mechanic for that.
That's a great idea.
In that, this effect will always last for at least one roll.
Okay.
But as soon as you roll using this status effect, and on the dice is less than a 10, is it less than a 10 or 10 or less on the dice, you will lose that ongoing effect. As long as you're rolling above a 10, where you use that effect, then you will maintain the effect. So if you don't roll badly for the rest of the session, you could have this effect for the rest of the game.
Oh boy!
All right.
But you'll at least get it for the next roll.
All right, Sig, are you ready down below? I am going to cut him loose. And chomp.
Okay, let's roll for alligator.
Roll for alligator.
Chompity chomp chomp.
That's +3. That's a 17.
Nice. Yeah, you chomp straight through all of those wires, and Whisper comes flying, falling down.
Still saying what?
Siegfried, are you trying to catch them? Are you below them? Are you trying to nab them out of the sky, or what are you doing?
So considering they're bigger than me,
incoming.
Cannonball!
I will kind of fly around them to help them maybe kind of right themselves somewhat, but I don't feel like catching them is a good idea. But maybe if I can if they're still not quite getting it, and nudge them in a direction to where they might fall into the pool instead of on the ground if they don't right themselves in time.
Okay. At risk of repeating some stuff, let's have an assist roll for you to do that then, and we'll see how Whisper can do to get free as they fall.
That would be. Let's see.
I'm trying the other dice. We will see.
Yeah, we'll go with the wings and the tail a little bit, just to try and help a little bit with rotation by pulling them. Yep. So 14 + 2 for 16.
Okay, so that's a +2 to Don's roll to release themselves, to steady themselves. How are you reacting to falling through the sky covered in cables that have just been cut? In the dark. It's all right, you got owl eyes, so you're fine.
Yeah. That's all I got going for me right now.
None of us are quite in the dark.
So you're getting a +5 total from this, so
yeah,
Ooh.
You can't go wrong, surely.
Don't say
that.
Don't say that.
And that's including the thing. So 5 + 3 is 8, 12.
Okay. I'll say this is just about enough. You nearly hit the floor. And it's not that bad. Let's say it's 20 feet or 30 feet up that you've fallen. And you just that moment before you hit the floor, you just get yourself free and come shooting out of the cables and manage to fly up to meet Siegfried in the air.
That'll wake you up.
You got these tentacles just behind you, just around.
Just
Two different sized eyes, just looking around wildly, like, oh no, I lost it too.
He's tweaking.
Siegfried's like, that's definitely new. Kind of shakes his head for a sec and blinks a few times just to make sure. Yep, still there.
What's still there?
I got something in my top. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, just look at your back.
Wrap all the way around. Ah!
Oh man.
Oh no.
What I'll say is, that would have counted as a success against your tentacles. So we'll mark down one success against tentacles there. You get 2 more successes on tentacles, and yeah, we should have included that in the calculation there, but we'll say post factor.
That is some weird looking stuff. Anyone want to get me off of the roof?
Oh shit! Just jump, you'll be fine.
Sure, friend. I can do that for you.
Elephants always land on their feet, right?
No, that's cats.
Yeah, I'll try to fly up and bring him down. This will be fun.
Go for it.
I could actually use my size for this.
If I'm falling and if I land, it's on my feet.
Maybe.
Yeah, let's roll for a rescuing Louis this time.
All right. So,
Don't drop me, please, Whisper.
I mean, if you hold on to my back, I don't think that'll be a problem.
I don't have
Where the
anything to
tentacles
grab
are.
with.
Okay.
I
Will
have
the
these.
tentacles negatively affect this?
They could get in the way. Yeah, I'd say that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so even with the bear size, it's only a +3. I got a 13. I rolled the highest I've rolled so far, a 10.
Nice. Okay, that'll do it. Like, you can, you get up there. You manage to grab hold of Louis, and I'm imagining Louis just going stiff, like,
Yep.
not again.
And gator.
You're going to go and land on the ground of this particular room. Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, so you all managed to congregate at the bottom. Let's say like the three of you are like three of the more senior creatures that are on the ship now, and you kind of know your way around. You know where stuff is and what does what. So you know what you know is that the ship has lurched. The power has gone out. May or may not be the result of of Whisper's shenanigans there. And something weird has happened to Whisper's back. What do you do?
Anyone else feel tingly inside, or is that just me?
You're the only one that's not had catnip.
Hold up, I got something in my teeth. Just spits out wires. All right. Which way is the front of the ship again? I forget. That might be a good place to go look and figure out what. We probably just hit something.
I mean,
I think that's
things are definitely
different.
different.
I think that might be a good place for us to pause, having gotten out of one situation before we get ourselves into another.
Yeah, I love that.
Especially with my rolls. It could take us a while.
Don, where did your luck go? Jeez.
But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. This is part one. We'll have stay tuned and follow us on either Twitter or here on Twitch. We'll have an announcement for when we do part two. You know,
Absolutely.
As with many games, when you're getting multiple people together across multiple time zones, scheduling sometimes is a bit of a challenge.
If the D&D movie can figure it out, then we can.
No, they had to push it back a month. The release got pushed back a month.
Yeah, they figured it out. They pushed it back.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see if it happens again.
That's unlucky.
But Ben, if you can kind of just give them a quick shout out about yourself again, where to find you and everything before we sign off out of here for today.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I am Ben Newbon, BenNewbon on Twitter. That's the best place to find me. Come chat. I'm very open to talking to anybody and everybody at anything. So yeah, this was great fun. Thanks for having me on, guys, and looking forward to part two at some point.
Oh,
yeah, thanks for joining us. It was awesome. Thanks for playing, George. We'll see you back next time as well. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Give us a subscribe if you haven't yet to stay up to date on part two of this and other streams for different indie games we've got going on.
Yep, absolutely. I'm really loving this game. It's super fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. With that said, stay legendary and all that, folks. Bye.